Good evening. You're watching The Digital Age. I'm Jim Zirin. Tonight we have a remarkable show for you about coping with the new digital technology, where we are, where we're headed, and most important, how do we keep it all straight? For as difficult as it is to imagine a world without iPhone, iPod, or Apple, it is virtually impossible fully to grasp a world with iPhone, iPod, and Apple. So our question tonight is, which of all these new digital products is going to be an e-hit and which is going to be an I-miss? And here to answer this question for us is the technology columnist for the New York Times, David Pogue. David Pogue, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, you have quite an interesting background for a tech critic and writer. You started life at Yale as a music major, and you were also a songwriter, and you're a blogger, and you're also a magician. Now, how do you get from there to here? How do you get from there to tech?
Well, I think the magic part of it was first, and I think to this day the reason I'm into technology is because I was first into magic, and I've always been into magic. I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, and I wanted to be magic all my life. So I became a magician. I did something like 400 magic shows during my teenage years for birthday parties and block parties. And you know, technology is the closest thing we've got in the real world. Push a button and my will is done. You know, so that's my own self-analysis. That's how I think
well,
that
I might recommend you see a lawyer too. But now, there's nothing up your sleeve now, and there's no coin behind my ear.
Nothing. You want to see a really cool trick?
Sure.
You want to see the magician's warm up?
Well, I'd love to see that.
This is from my book, Magic for Dummies. But not that I'm here to sell books. All right, so do this with me. Put your hands out back to back.
How's that?
Cross over and clasp your fingers. That's it.
That's it?
Right. Now, all you're going to do is on the count of 3, I want you to untwist just like I do. 1, 2, 3. Just untwist so you're
I can't do that.
Untwist. No, go ahead.
I can't do that.
That's weird. It works for me.
How does it work for you?
Anyway.
You must be double jointed. Now, what about, you were on Broadway?
Yes, I spent first 10 years out of college doing Broadway shows as an arranger and a conductor. And I wanted to write Broadway shows, but it took 10 years for me to figure out that they weren't really producing new young talent anymore. It was all about revivals and the old guard. So, but actually that was the link between my old career and my new one. So the software that I wanted to do my sheet music on cost $1,000, and the local New York Computer Club newsletter editor said, you know, if you review the software for our newsletter, you get to keep it. So, wow, that was a great idea. So that's how I got into reviewing stuff. And I did that for 13 years, first for that little newsletter, and then the same guy, to whom, by the way, I owe my whole career, eventually said, you know, you could be making money from this. Why don't you send your clips to one of the computer magazines and see if they would be interested in hiring you as a professional? So I did that, and they did. And
now, who was that to whom you owe your whole career?
Rob Allen.
Rob Allen.
Hi, Rob. I actually ran into him again years later.
God,
yeah.
if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have David Pogue.
That's true. I'd still be playing the piano.
Now, let's just get back to, of course, you're a digital renaissance man, but let's get back to tech for a moment. The trend in tech, even though the economy is down, the trend in tech is decidedly up, isn't it?
I'd say so.
Did you attended Macworld Expo?
Yeah.
Last year, and the projection was, well, at the fair itself, there were 100 more booths than the year before.
That's right, up 25%. Attendance was up 25%. Apple's, the Mac thing is definitely on an upswing.
And there was, last year, there was a 35% leap in Macs, and they sold 2.16 million. In the fourth quarter.
A new record, yep.
So do you think that, what do you think that augurs for consumers? Are there going to be more products and more sales and greater distribution of computers?
Well, I mean, all those statistics have to do with Apple. And, you know, Apple is definitely in its golden age right now. And I don't know whether we can extend that to consumer technology in general. Probably not. But Yeah, Apple is a special case, and whether you like Apple or not, and there are a lot of people who don't, they are doing some great things that are affecting the rest of the industry. In computers, for example, Apple was the one who first stuck a mouse on a computer, who first put a CD-ROM in a computer, first put wireless in a laptop. So whether you like Apple or not, the things that they do become standard for everybody else. And then the big news is the iPhone, not the gadget itself, which is fine, and you might have your own opinion about that. But the fact that Apple went to a cellular carrier and said, we're going to design this phone and not tell you what it is. That had never happened before until that Verizon, Singular, T-Mobile, and so on were the gatekeepers for innovation. And you'd come up with some great idea, and you'd say, hey, we have this phone, and it's going to do this. What do you think? And they would say, no, don't think so. And innovation was stifling in cell phone design. So the fact that Singular was willing to close their eyes and say, okay, Steve, go ahead, design your phone. We won't even see it till it's finished. Was remarkable. And since then, all these other dominoes have been falling. So the iPhone came out. It had been designed without the carriers okay and turned out to be a hit. So first, the iPhone comes out. It's a big hit. Then Google says, well, we're going to design software for a cell phone line, and it's going to be called Android, and it'll be out later this year. And then Verizon said, oh, by the way, we're taking off all the restrictions on phones for our network. Now you can bring any compatible phone you want, even if we didn't sell it to you, and use it. And one by one, the dominoes are falling. The carriers suddenly have lost or are willingly giving up their veto power because they see that innovation can be good for business.
Ah, yes. Now, Steve is Steve Jobs. He was the Apple CEO.
Right.
Now, what about the innovation that he brought it out at, what was it, $1,000 and then reduced it to $500?
Well, it came out at $600, and he reduced it to $400, a matter of weeks later.
But only gave you a credit toward further Apple purchases, isn't that right?
True. Offered everyone who bought it at $600 a $100 store credit. Yep. Right.
So did you think that hurt them?
No, I don't. I mean, look, I'd be annoyed if I paid $600 and the price dropped to $400 7 weeks later. But you know what? It would have dropped to $400 6 months later. So all technology goes down in price. All products are superseded by better ones. It's the game. That's the way it works. That's the way the business is built. And everybody knows that. So the people who were whining deep down had to realize, look, this is the trend. The only difference was Apple cut the price a little sooner than they do usually, and plus they got the $100. So that, and they did have the use of the thing in the meantime. So,
well, that's true. Now, after the fair, Steve Jobs unveiled MacBook Air. I noticed you have a MacBook Air.
Well, yeah. Well,
this
Apple.
Is the thinnest,
I wish it were
computer
mine.
ever made.
Yeah, it's the thinnest laptop you can buy. And look, what I love is how fast it turns on. I can figure out which way is up. It becomes more of a Palm Pilot than.
Yeah. Oh. I guess maybe the camera will show it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So more of a Palm Pilot than a laptop. It's so it's one-handed. It's like a little a legal pad or something. And you need to check something, you just pop it open. You do your check. You close it like that. So it really changes the nature of a laptop. I was at a counter checking in for a flight, and they said, "Do you have a frequent flyer number?" And I went like this. Yeah, it's CDE, blah, 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 blah. And I closed it. I kid you not, the guy at the next agent hauls out this like 8-pound Dell, and he's like, hold on. Ching! One sec. The people in line are brandishing their knives. I'm like, dude, you bought a Dell. Anyway, so it's really a very sweet machine.
You won.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that the internet providers are also making it easier and easier to get online, aren't they? There's something called portable broadband access cards. That's something new, isn't it?
Those have been around for a couple of years. Yeah. $60 a month, but it gets your laptop onto the internet anywhere you can make a cell call, in the cab or, someplace where there's no wireless internet otherwise. So
you don't need a cafe. You can just ride around in the cab and you're online.
The world is your cafe. Yes, it's really, really sweet. I've been using one that was a loaner. I've just had to send it back, and I'm in serious withdrawal. I need to check.
Well, let's shift from hardware for a moment to something you've written about, which is online etiquette.
Oof.
And you take a dim view of online etiquette. You plead for civility 101 online. And you had an interesting example. I mean, it was this apocryphal story that if you put on one of these sites, twinkle, twinkle, little star, you court feedback like this on the blog. By bad dude on 12/11, what's your problem, moron? You already said it's a star. Why would you wonder what it is? Get a clue or a life? Or M-Robe, or maybe that's Mr. Robe on 12/11. It's a poem, idiot. Nobody's claiming that stars twinkle. Ever heard of poetic license? Honestly, the intellectual level of you people is right up there with the gnats. And further, you wrote that the real shame, though, is that the knee-jerk, everyone else is an idiot tenor is poisoning the potential the internet once had. Those are strong words. Do you think that's really true?
I do. I think it's really, really unfortunate that the anonymity of the internet brings out the worst in people. And nobody tolerates anybody else's opinion. You're the only one who's right. And, you know, the abuse is just, it's unreal. This came about because I got an email from a 15-year-old to a New York Times, well, never mind that it's a New York Times columnist, to an adult. Well, never mind that it's an adult. To another person, he wrote, you know, dear Mr. Pogue, gets the name wrong, you know, I have to tell you that you are full of, you know, the S word, and what you wrote about the Zune is totally wrong. You have your head up, you're, you know, and went on like this. And first of all, he was wrong, factually, on every single point. And second of all, just heaping this abuse on a total stranger. We don't behave the way online that we would behave in person. That's the first problem. The second problem is we amplify every emotion, possibly because we are anonymous. We're worried that we'll get lost in the shuffle, that id or whatever the part of us, our brain that holds us back, shuts down when we're online. And you see some of these discussion forums where it devolves instantly into backstabbing and bickering. And the problem with that is, yes, it's not everybody who's like that, but the problem is that those people drive out the good ones. I mean, when I see one of these, like, have you ever seen the comments on a YouTube video? Oh my God, they don't even know they have punctuation keys on the keyboard. And it, you know, you moron, you jackass, you idiot, you know, and so the good people are like, I want no part of this. And so the well-meaning people who do have etiquette leave. So it's a vicious cycle.
But of course, it's not anonymous, is it? Everyone has an IP address, much like a telephone number, and somebody somewhere in cyberspace knows who's putting those messages on. And,
sure, you could.
And if there's something illegal about it, it could be dealt with.
Right, right.
But what is the prescription? What is the remedy? It's probably gotten worse since you wrote the article.
Well, the prescription is, I mean, I have my own theories about this, but the prescription is, let everybody have an online identity that they keep with them. Go by your name. You know, Amazon.com has these reader reviews. When you buy a book, you can then write a little review of it. And they used to have the same problem. People would get abusive. People would not read the book, but just attack the author. And then a couple years ago, they said, fine, from now on, you sign the review with your name. And they didn't allow anonymous. And boy, it cleaned up right quick. And the signal-to-noise ratio improved a lot. If there were some way to do that, you know, and for example, on my blog at the New York Times, we have these incredible comments. Every time I'll write something, I am outshone by the 200 people who then come in and say, and not only that, but, or the history of this, David, you might have missed, which is that just amazing stuff. And the reason it's so high quality is that these comments are moderated. That is, I go through the comments as they pour in, and I delete the abuse and the spam and the swearing. And what's left is a virtuous cycle, right? People say, wow, this is a cool discussion. Maybe I'll have something intelligent to add. So that's the other solution, is moderate these comments, and you'll be amazed at the quality difference.
But your civil liberties First Amendment colleagues, the New York Times, might come back and say, well, you know, the Federalist Papers weren't signed, and The First Amendment is to promote the expression of ideas and not necessarily even irresponsible ideas.
Well, there are two things that I filter out. One is spam. I don't think the First Amendment said anything about selling herbal Viagra on my board. And the other thing I delete, and in fact these days I don't even delete, is the swear words. These days I actually go ahead and post the thing, but I edit the swear word with stars. So
expletive deleted.
Exactly. So people can see what the word, can guess what the word used to be. So I don't delete stuff that's, challenges me or says, you're a fool, you're wrong. I don't. But I have not had an instance of, you stupid idiot, you should be shot in a very long time. I guess because it's self-fulfilling now.
Now, every year you make some awards to products called the Pogies. Envelope, please, the Pogies. Now, can you briefly describe for us the 5 winners or 5 of the winners, the top 5?
Sure.
Of the products and why you chose them?
Well, the concept here is, so I do 50 columns a year, and I review all kinds of stuff. I mean, the FedEx man at my house knows my sleep schedule, my wardrobe, my children's names, and so I review the product, and then I have to ship it back. And sometimes there's a turkey of a product that nonetheless had a spark of greatness in it. One feature that was really impressive. So the Pogies are designed to honor not products or companies, but individual features in products. And sometimes it was a good product and sometimes not. I don't remember all of them, but last year the winner was Apple's magnetic power cord attacher. So all of the Apple laptops attach here with a magnet. And the idea is, if somebody trips on the cord, the laptop stays where it is and the cord falls harmlessly to the ground. Since the laptop has battery, you don't even lose what you're doing. It kicks right into the battery. So that's a brilliant idea that changes the game completely. This is a mother from New Hampshire or Vermont or something who one day she was driving her van. She could hear her kids' iPod music bleeding out of their earbuds from the back seat. It was so loud. And she was worried about their hearing. So she, with no technical background, invented decibel limiting earbuds that you can buy for whatever it is, 25 bucks.
She got a patent?
She got a patent. They're on sale. The iHearSafe earbuds. And you replace your kids' earbuds with these, and they're limited to 85 decibels instead of the 120 that the iPod can go up to. So just a great little idea.
There's also, I think you gave an award to camera beaming. So that if we're both taking a picture of the Taj Mahal, and you show it to me, and it looks like a pretty good picture, I don't have to take my own picture. I say, give it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
That works.
That happens all the time. Fuji had these cameras where once I take a picture, I can beam it to you. I mean, how many times have we been in that situation where I take a picture of your group, and then you're like, oh, can you email it to me? Well, come on, that's way too much hassle.
Right, that's marvelous. Now, do you have some predictions as to what kinds of technology we're going to see in the future, really in the near future?
You're always going to look foolish if you try to predict the future of technology, but one trend that I've been seeing...
Future about anything.
Yeah, exactly. The future of the governor of New York. Well, actually, that's pretty easy to predict about now. So the interesting trend that I've been seeing is the mixture of cell phones and the internet. Now, there are all these little startup companies doing really, really ingenious things with this. And it started with a company called Grand Central, who has since been bought by Google. But you know how you have multiple phones? You have a cell phone, you have a home phone, maybe a work phone. In your position as a lawyer, yacht phone? I don't know.
A yacht phone, no.
In any case.
That's for the clients.
Ah!
That's for the clients.
So we've gotten into this thing now where it's like, hey, I left a message for you at work. I'll try you on your cell. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So Grand Central issues you a new phone number, and it rings all your phones. So when someone calls that number, it rings all your phones. And it works by routing the calls to the internet, and as such, you can control these things in amazing ways. I can leave a different greeting for each person in my address book. So when my wife calls, she hears, hi, honey, leave me a message. And when my boss calls, I hear, David Pogue, New York Times, leave a message. And so it goes on. And then there's some other companies that have addressed the problem of voicemail. So when I call for my voicemail, when I call your voicemail, for example, I hear, to page this person, page that, what is this, 1970? And then I'm like, when you have finished recording, you may hang up. No kidding. I need these 15 seconds of instructions. It drives me crazy.
Well, they make money from that.
They make incredible money. $100 million. I did the math. 15 seconds of instructions. If you leave 2 messages a day, Verizon alone, 40 million customers, $100 million a year by running up your airtime. So drives me crazy. And the solution are these companies like Simulscribe, Spinvox, CallWave. What they do is they take your voicemail and they transcribe it into text. And they send it to your cell phone as text messages or to your email inbox. And it's so much faster to read than it is to listen, and you don't have to go in order, and you don't have to listen to the moronic instructions. I don't even get, when I call for my voicemail, first I have to enter my password. It's like, dude, I have the phone. Of course it's me. Who else is it? Why do we need a password? To run up airtime. And secondly, then I get instructions. You have 17 messages. To listen to your messages, press 1. Why else am I calling you? Of course I want to listen to my message. It's just...
This is the digital age.
She talks to you like she's a 3rd grade teacher on Ambien, you know, like drawing out this little... Let's see if I can make it last 20 seconds. Anyway, it's all a total scam. But these things bypass that problem.
Now, you have also a la carte TV. The demise of the blue plate special. What is a la carte TV?
The demise of a la carte TV means we no longer say channel 25 at 8 o'clock. We now watch the show when, well, first of all, first came time shifting, first came TiVo, record the show when it was broadcast, then we watch it later. Now comes a la carte completely. You pick a show that you want to watch right now, and you watch it right now that's ever been broadcast. There's a bunch of sources for this. All the networks have terrific websites. Hardly anyone knows about this. NBC, CBS, so on. You can go up to their websites and watch any of their top 25 series. The last 4 episodes are there waiting for you in their entirety, free, with incredible quality. There are commercial breaks, but they're web ads. They're like 10 seconds long, and then you're back to the show. And then, of course, iTunes, for $2 a show, they have hundreds of different TV series available. You can watch any episode ever, $2 a show with no ads. And that's something you can download to your iPod and carry around with you. So it's going to catch on. It's going to get more and more popular in the future. Yes, the days of gathering around the water cooler the next morning and saying, did you see NYPD Blue last night? Those days are over. But we gain a lot in convenience in the meantime. Okay, well, now I'm going to ask you to combine 2 disciplines. And perhaps, and this is a first in the digital age, you could play for us the iPhone song, which you wrote. It is a parody, it is funny, it is marvelous, and we brought here a portable piano so that you'll be well supported. You know, I could have learned the Jew's harp, but no, I got to... yes, well, ever since I gave up my Broadway career, I do this thing where I write new words to old melodies, and this one is about the iPhone. This one I made a music video of. I do these web videos for the New York Times each week. For 7 blissful hours, it was the #1 video on YouTube. My life changed. Okay. And now the end is near. I'm sick to death of this old cell phone. Bad sound, the signal's weak, the software stinks, a made-in-hell phone. But I've heard there's something new, 1,000,000 times more rad than my phone. I too will join the cult. I want an iPhone. Concerns, I have a few. It's got some flaws, we may just face it. No keys, no memory card, the battery's sealed, you can't replace it. But God, this thing is sweet, a multi-touch iPod Wi-Fi phone. You had me from hello, I want an iPhone. For what is a man? What has he got? If not iPhone, then he's got Squat. It's all the things a phone should be. Who cares if it's AT&T? I took a stand, paid $500, and got an iPhone.
David Pogue, ladies and gentlemen, on the digital age. David, thank you for coming by.
My pleasure.
I never had a better time, and thank you for coming by. Tune in next week for more on the digital age. For the digital age, I'm Jim Zirin. Good night, and all the best.
Imagine there's no Apple, no products that begin with I, no monthly iPod models, no Apple stores to get you high. Imagine all the people finding other things to do. Imagine there's no bloggers. It isn't hard to do. No viruses or spyware. No weekly Windows patches too. Imagine all the people learning to get a life. You may say it'd be a nightmare without Apple, Mac, or Dell. We might have real conversations, but the world would be dull as hell.
David Pogue.